Oh. Welcome everyone to the Holistic Mental Health Summit. Our guest for today is Seo Kelleher. She's a coach, spiritual mentor, and the founder of Alpha Sisterhood, a community for high performing women who support one another, embrace their intuition, and expand their careers, and share guidance and healing. I'm so excited to have Seo on this summit. I've known her for quite a few years now, and she's the one who's taught me about the magic of a mindset practice. So my first question to you, CEO, is how important is mindset when it comes to your health?
So thank you for having me here first, Manjuri. I'd love to talk about mindset. I think I'm just going to share my personal point of view around mindset practice and how it relates to people's health, overall holistic health. Mindset is how we think, right? So that's your brain. So mindset equals brain. So how your brain is thinking, your thoughts, how you think, what you believe. So brain, in my opinion, is like one of the most powerful organs in our body. Brain makes your body move. It makes you make money, create beautiful things. And because of it, because mindset is just representation of how your brain works, I believe it has overall effect and power to change a lot of things in our life and our body.
Wow, that's really important. Yeah. So I've heard the importance of regular mindset work. I work regularly with clients that are really in midst of some really stressful situations. Sometimes you just have a lot going on. And sometimes people get caught up in negativity loop where they start developing a not so positive mindset, right? Where they start blaming themselves or they have a lot of associated guilt or shame. So how would somebody get out of that negative loop? Or is there something that you suggest to break past it?
I think the negative loop or that thing that you talk about, the suffering that people end up finding themselves in, is our conditioned beliefs, right? So as you are the expert in energy and chakras, that isn't it true that our energy chakras are all formed by like age something, age 2? How old?
Till age 7.
Age 7. So by age 7, like, we believe all of our energy and how we feel and how we operate kind of gets formed. So this negative loop has been conditioned and set in its way for many, many years. So it takes a conscious effort and practice to like reposition or shift or change it. And I think the most important thing is self-awareness. So kind of knowing that, okay, these tend to be my loop, what you call negative loop, or these tends to be my limiting beliefs. These tend to be how I think. So it is maybe I tend to always think I'm not good enough. So it's either I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, or maybe to lack mindset, there's not enough, it's going to run out. Or maybe fear of non-acceptance, right? People are going to find out, I'm not going to be included. People are going to think I'm stupid. People are not going to think I'm great. I'm going to be alone. I'm going to be alone and destitute or die alone. Like these negative loops can go. So these limiting beliefs, so knowing what our limiting beliefs tend to be, number one, so having that self-awareness, and then also knowing in what situation, self-awareness, and in what situation does that get triggered, right? If I'm overwhelmed, when I'm under a lot of stress, when I'm too tired, when I'm too hungry, when I'm supposed to show up and like be visible. So knowing that what your triggers are in terms of your environment, your habits, other people, like a certain personality you deal with, certain key people in your life. Like I have some clients who they get triggered when they have to talk to their mom, or they get triggered when they have to talk to, certain group of friends and things like that. So I think self-awareness is a key to really working on our mindset.
Nice. And can you talk a little more about limiting beliefs? Because we hear a lot of the times, people have some negative belief about themselves or something that limits them. But a lot of people don't know exactly how to identify if you have certain limiting beliefs. They just think they're born a certain way, or it is just how it is, that maybe I'm not competent enough, or maybe I'm not happy enough right now, or maybe, I have to work harder, or sometimes there's an imposter syndrome, right, with a lot of
Yeah.
practitioners. So how do you really find out if you have negative beliefs or the limiting beliefs?
I don't know. I think for me, working with my own coach has helped me. Um,
Mhm.
a lot of my clients identify their limiting belief working with me. So if you have some, because sometimes when I mean, how do you define your limiting belief, Manjeri?
Because sometimes it keeps showing up, right? If there's one thing that keeps showing up over and over in your life again,
Mhm.
so if there's something around, some good things happen, but suddenly you feel that, okay, I don't deserve it, right? And
Yeah.
that keeps showing up all the time. So how CEO talked about awareness or self-awareness. So if you're self-aware, there's one thing that keeps showing up over and over in your behavior sometimes, right?
That's
So that,
holding you back, right?
yeah,
If
that's
it
holding.
shows up over and over and it actually helps you thrive and you feel great about it and you're successful, that's good. But if it's something that keeps coming up that keeps holding back. So the one question I would ask, and I do ask my client, is what is this thing? What is either it's a voice in your head or a sentence or this thing, it keeps coming up again and again that tends to hold you back from really feeling successful, feeling great about yourself, feel joy. And then, I would say it might sound like your own voice, it might sound like somebody else's voice. And you could start with there is, there isn't, it starts with I, or it starts there. And most often, I think, from working with a lot of clients, I think the imposter syndrome, not good enough, some form of not good enough, right? Um, that could be things like I'm not good enough, or I need to constantly try to prove myself, or I constantly need to educate myself and get more certification. When I reach this point, maybe I will feel good enough. When I reach that point, so you keep pushing that limit. So something around that not good enough is huge. I think a lot of people struggle with that limiting belief. Another is lack mindset. So there isn't enough, it's going to run out. If I have certain opportunity that may get taken away, if somebody else has it, that means I cannot have it. If somebody has it, that means it's no longer there. So any type of representation of lack mindset, that's another common limiting belief. Um, and the fear of abandonment, so fear of non-acceptance, so not being accepted, being ridiculed, being criticized, people making fun of you, people think, who the hell do you think you are? Criticism. Actually, some people fear actually physical harm and death, and like a sabotage from other people. So those are another form of a fear of, or like non-acceptance or abandonment. So those three are pretty common one that I face a lot with working with clients. But then the way to look at it, I'll say, is working with someone to actually see it and help you see it. Because sometimes when you're in it, right, when you're in the midst of it, it's hard for you to kind of detach yourself and observe and identify. So sometimes working with a coach or healer or a therapist or even a good grounded friend or advisor who's not too committed to you emotionally, not too involved in emotionally, can actually help you see it. But then if but you might be able to identify it yourself if you start asking the right question. Like, what are the same loop or same things that keeps coming up, like Manjeri said, or what is the thing that keeps holding me back and holding me back? What's the theme of something that keeps holding me back? And then you might actually have the awareness.
Yeah, and that's really interesting because in my own journey, I've found a lot of roadblocks, right? And I call them roadblocks because they make you stop right where you are, and you have to understand why it impacts you. And it can come from your childhood, or it can come from somebody else's perception of you or judgment of you. But you have to take that and move past it, or you just have to clear the roadblock, right? So that has to be done if you want to empower yourself. Otherwise you reach a certain point and you're stopped right there, and it keeps showing up all the time, which keeps holding you back from your work or your life's work. So what are some mindset strategies that somebody can implement on a daily basis to move past your limiting beliefs or to empower oneself?
So I think the most important thing, I think the first step is self-awareness. So any mindfulness practice to allow you to have that self-awareness or increase your self-awareness is going to be really really great thing to practice. So mindfulness. So there's so many mindfulness exercises, including meditation, um, mindful meditation is hard for people. So if you can have a meditation practice that's consistent, that's great. I think that's like the best thing you could be doing. But if you have challenge with sticking with a meditation practice, taking mindful, like I call it mindful 5 minutes. It's not necessarily meditation. It does not have to be meditation, but spending like a few minutes a day being really mindful and being present. So being mindful means being present in the moment and being aware of what's going on in my emotion, in my thoughts, in my body, and everything. One way to really spend the mindful 5 minutes is when you take shower. So taking a few minutes, like mindful. So mindful shower is actually really great practice to practice the mindfulness and increase your self-awareness is you paying attention to sensation of water hitting your body, the water pooling on the bottom of your feet. If you're shampooing your hair, like the smell of the shampoo, the feeling in your fingertips, the lather that you feel, how the water is dripping down on your body. Just fully being aware of that present moment and being really in tune to the sensation of that actual shower. Because oftentimes when we shower, our mind just goes away, right? We're thinking about all the things we have to do. You know, sometimes people say, oh, I have such a creative idea when I'm in the shower, because your mind kind of goes away. So being like training your body or training your mind, training your brain to stay in the moment, at least for 5 minutes out of your 10-minute shower. And that's a really great practice. So mindful 5 minutes. It could be, so I think shower is a really great way. If you are one of those people who are trying to improve your digestion or eating habit, it could be mindful eating, right? So mindful eating, I don't really do well with that, but it's really understanding, like looking at the color. You do probably do more than that because you're nutritionist.
I do it all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us how to do mindful eating.
So mindful eating is I eat in a place that's completely away from any television or my computer or work desk or any other activity. I make sure I'll fill my plate only once with whatever I need. And I'll sit down, I'll actually look at my food and I'll chew well. And I'll really focus on the texture I eat with my hands, because in the Vedic culture, we think that the hands are, it's the touch sensation, and the 5 elements represent each of the fingertips. So it really aids your digestion as well. So you're taking a morsel, you're eating, and you're really taking the time to feel the texture and the taste and just the temperature of the food, the crunch. So all your senses are really satisfied when you're eating mindfully. And this is really important for people who tend to overeat, right? So if you're having a plate that's already filled once, and then you're sitting down and you're really chewing each bite, you can be in tune with yourself as to how much you need to eat, and you seldom overeat. And I've been implementing that for over a year now. The past 1 month I've been really strict about it, and it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, so there are many different ways that you could apply that mindfulness into your everyday life, and not only it's going to help you get stronger in your mindset practice and increase your self-awareness, it has other benefits, right? Other benefits like mindful eating. So that's one way. So mindful minutes, I took a note. And then I know this gets told again and again and again, but gratitude practice, daily practice of writing things you're thankful for, and having that habit in every day, it also brings you into the present moment to really tune in about, oh my God, I'm having a really terrible day, but I have to do this gratitude practice. So let me just bring it down my mind to the present moment to see what I'm thankful for. So it is a great practice to bring you into present, be mindful, but then also channel your thought process into something positive. gratitude practice, gratitude has a high vibration energy. So when we are feeling thankful and writing things that we're thankful for, it brings our, it not only brings us into the present moment and be mindful, but also raises our vibration and could help us shift from negative like loop that Jerry talked about to something like being more present and being more positive. There are different ways that you could do your gratitude practice. So not only just writing what you're thankful for, I always encourage to write at least 3 things. So if you're writing, so what I recommend is 5 to 7 things today that you're thankful for. But out of those 5 to 7 things, I want 3 things to be self-gratitude. So actually 3 things that you're thankful about yourself. So that's kind of taking your gratitude practice to next level, because oftentimes we say, well, I'm grateful for my husband, grateful for my children, or grateful for my car. So it's usually external, but then when we actually need to tune into what about myself am I thankful for, it actually shifts even more powerful energy. So I would be like, okay, okay, I'm just feeling horrible, but I'm gonna have to be thankful for myself. What could I be thankful for? Well, I guess my resilience to go through this challenging time, so that I'll say I'm thankful for my resilience, my high tolerance for pain, or maybe, or so it could be anything, but always turning it into your self-gratitude is also a really powerful way. So those 2 things will be what I would recommend to like apply.
See, and we just celebrated Thanksgiving in Canada, and I know we are near the American Thanksgiving too.
Yeah.
So the one thing people do is they take Thanksgiving very seriously, maybe having a big turkey dinner or something like that, or giving thanks to the family at the time. But what you touched on, the self-gratitude, that's really important. And most people, most women in general, we are always grateful for everybody else. But self-care, self-gratitude, they're not spoken about a lot, right? Or they are not practiced a lot. So that's a really good point that you made, that always, go back to self-gratitude and talk about at least 3 things about your own self that you're really grateful for. So that's an amazing point. So for somebody who's just starting out and who has absolutely no idea with mindset work, or they don't have a lot of time, they're like, oh, I don't have time to do meditations or, be mindful all the time or eat, I'm really rushing. So if there's just one thing that you would say to start their journey of mindfulness and a positive mindset, what would that one thing be?
I think that will be the gratitude practice, because it's been done and people talk about it again and again because it works. So it's easy to do. Make sure you apply the self-gratitude aspect of it. Self-gratitude is a form of self-care, right? Self-care is not just about getting facial done and getting your nails done and getting your massage done. Self-care is how are we taking care of our own self, mind, body, and soul, right? Mind, body, and spirit. Not about nails and hair, that's just body and maybe a little bit of emotion, but the self-gratitude practice is easy and it works. That would be how you get started. There are many different ways of mindset practice. I do have a program called 21-Day Mindset Makeover, which Jerry's gonna introduce as a part of the package later, but you actually have 21 different daily practices that you could apply. You don't need 21 different mindset practices, but the program is there for you to introduce you to 21 different strategies. So it could be gratitude practice. One other exercise that anybody can do, I think, if you're starting out, it's kind of fun, but also challenging, is 100 ways awesome exercise. So that exercise is actually, you get a blank piece of paper, you number it from 1 to 100, and in one sitting, you're going to write down 100 ways that you are awesome. So that's a challenging exercise, but it's a really powerful exercise. You start writing things down, like mine usually, I'm a great coach, I'm a great friend, I am a good wife. So the important part of this exercise is kind of writing it down without judgment. So sometimes I'm like, I'm a great wife. Am I really a great wife? Like I yelled at my husband yesterday. So it's like, so the key is like suspending this judgment. I'm great at making a macaroni and cheese. Oh, well, am I really there? Nope. Like, so suspending the judgment and staying really present and mindful and writing the 100 ways you're awesome. And that's challenging. Usually I'm really good about like, maybe I'll get to like 57 and then I get stuck. And then you have to start reaching, right? Like, I have a great shoe collection. I have great hair. Like I picked a great gift. I have a good handwriting. Sometimes you have to come up with some ridiculous things. It's not about quality of list. Nobody cares about the list. It's about the practice of sitting in that space of seeking awesomeness within yourself and then listing it out. That exercise, even when, because it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable, and this exercise of suspending that judgment, suspending this negative mindset and staying with, no, I'm just writing what's awesome about me, writing off. That whole practice itself is really powerful.
Yeah, and I have taken the 21-day mindset course with CEO. I've also tried the 100 reasons I'm awesome. The first time I did the exercise, I was really having a challenge at about 35 to 40. But then I decided to just sit down and get it done. And I reached 111 reasons I'm awesome.
Awesome.
And that's a practice that I've actually been telling my clients as well. So when I'm sitting in my clinic, with my clients or patients, sometimes, a lot of their emotional issues start popping up and they start showing up as physical symptoms as well. So we've a lot talked about the gut and the brain connection, but there's always some kind of emotional component when you're going through major digestive issues or major health issues. So I always ask them to do CEO's exercise of 100 reasons I'm awesome. And I ask them to keep the paper in their purse and just travel with it or keep it handy all the time. And if there's a day when you're not feeling the best, you can always pull the paper out, and that totally shifts your energy.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love the exercise. I still have my paper somewhere in my purse for
That's
sure.
awesome.
But it's a great exercise. So thank you so much, CEO, for spending the time with us and educating us so much about mindset and mindset practices. Thanks again. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome.